Not every day you get to climb inside a 300-foot ape's mouth, is it?
I mean, it's kind of the fact that he wanted to in the first place. I don't know if there's something right with this guy or something wrong with this guy, but I like him. I gotcha. Anyways, let's finally break down and review Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. First of all, I'm gonna start by saying that I love the MonsterVerse movies, and if you do too, subscribe to my page. I accept them for what they are, giant monsters fighting movies. They're 2-hour long video game boss battles. So A New Empire is just the best way to continue that. It starts fast, doesn't lean heavily on the lackluster plot, but it does use the human storyline to enhance the final boss battle with this zero-G Titan fight. Not to mention this incredible bit of foreshadowing right here.
Unless you get them riled up and then they pack about a lightning bolt worth of bioelectricity.
But we'll explain that later. Then they have a smooth way for the humans to again have a purpose for being there, which seems to always be the problem of these movies. I personally always try to judge a film on one major principle. Does it accomplish the goal it's set out to? In this case, I'd say yes. My only complaint is that they do now have kind of a streamlined feel to it. Just kind of feels like the story is kind of cookie cutter, but that's not the worst thing they can do in a movie like this. I know what these movies are about, and it's not the human story. But speaking of that, let's talk about the human characters for just a sec. They introduce a few new characters like Trapper. He's an animal lover to a crazy extent.
That must be tasty too.
And I'm just gonna come out and say it. We need more Trapper. He's cool, he's resourceful, he's a veterinarian for Titans. I mean, he's who I wanna be when I grow up. We get more of Brian Tyree Henry's Bernie.
I am going to Hollow Earth. Oh my God, what am I doing?
He's annoying, but it is on purpose so that he can explain everything to us.
You're so smart, Bernie. You're so capable, Bernie. I'll subscribe to your Titan blog, Bernie.
And of course, Dr. Andrews and Jaya are back to help Kong through his adventures. It works, and it's better than Millie Bobby Brown and her dad's dynamic.
Mason, where are you?
However, the dad in Godzilla, King of the Monsters was dope.
Open the shields.
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
The dude was cold as ice, but then we had to watch his daughter kinda save the world by a series of Stranger Things Mr. Magoo events.
Tap or no tap?
So anyways, happy to see that they finally moved on with their lives, I guess. Her mom was a bit genocidal maniac. I'll also throw in a little complaint about this. Where's the extended edition of the long Godzilla fights? Huh, Legendary? Answer that one. He fights all these Titans, killing them forever. Tiamat, Skyla, which doesn't have enough vowels to be a word, but okay, we'll let it slide. Skyla doesn't really look strong enough to pose a threat to Godzilla.
Easy win, Gene.
It's gone in like a 4-minute fight, maybe less than that. I didn't time it, but it's really quick. Those could have been cooler, longer fights that must have been left on the cutting room floor, so let's see them. Apparently, and this is an internet rumor, but there is a 5-hour cut of Godzilla x Kong. So let's see that bad boy. Time to finish and release it and put it out on Max. Let's go. You did it for the Justice League, you can do it for Godzilla and Kong. This also might be slightly controversial, but I think it's time to slow down the Kong storyline. They're moving backwards on Monarch Season 2. I know that Godzilla 2014 and King of Monsters for some reason are liked less than the team-up movies, but I miss the dark and dangerous Godzilla. Not this Godzilla that takes a little nappy nap in the Coliseum. Not that I'm completely against it, you know, slow down. But do you remember the skydiving scene in Godzilla 2014? It's dark, and Godzilla is just this massive thing that keeps to the shadows. It's more than just his massive size, it's still this mystery of how dangerous he might be. Now, I know what you're going to say. Godzilla is still the most powerful Titan. Well, no. He lost to Mechagodzilla, which doesn't really count, so I'll give him that. But he also kind of lost to Shimu. So he's not the strongest, he's just the hero. Like a Ronin samurai that just comes out whenever they need to duel an evil warlord. Sorry, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now. No one should make a big deal or write lore about Godzilla being the alpha, because we shouldn't know if he's the alpha. It should always be a test, and then he has to overcome it and win. I don't know, maybe y'all would like a Western gunslinger reference better. Anyways, wasn't he cooler whenever he wasn't so bright and shiny and I guess accepted by the world? Yes, countries get upset, but he has a team of publicists to help him out through all of these troubles.
Humanity is lucky. Godzilla's fighting the battles we can't.
It's just so different from the Godzilla that we got in the first two movies. I mean, this might be too much, but what happened to Aaron Taylor Johnson and his family? Where'd they go, besides to do crappy movies? I feel like Elizabeth Olsen might do it, and they could add in a teenage kid as their son. Boom, you're welcome, Legendary. Also, let's bring back a little bit of the military's perspective because I absolutely hate this guy.
Listen, pal, I'm gonna trust my state-of-the-art thermal over your Ace Ventura hippy-dippy sixth sense all day long. You got me?
Okay, actually that was kind of funny and spot on, and the actor Alex Verne was great in Andor.
Andor should be considered armed and dangerous.
But think about it, we lost these kind of moments. Hang on, kid! Anthony Ramos and O'Shea Jackson Jr. almost getting ripped up into the air like it's a Twister. Wait a second, his Twister character did say that he was in the army. Never mind, this is about the MonsterVerse. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Monarch. The idea that the world would just let this paramilitary force that can just act so independently handle such huge global issues. I mean, I love the idea, I really do. Save the Titans, and maybe there'd be a Monarch, but it'd be ran by the military and they'd have much bigger weapons like the Oxygen Destroyer. As much as I like the Titans, I also like things like, you know, the Great Pyramids of Giza, or, you know, Rome, Rio, Hong Kong.
They like to get the landmarks.
I'm just saying, maybe a little bit more Titan control wouldn't be so horrible on ground level.
Rome would be flattened if it weren't for Godzilla.
What? He destroys everything. And I just don't think that people running for shelters like on Monarch Legacy of Monsters is the policies that you want to rely on. Anyways, now that Godzilla has kind of run the gambit of giant titans to beat up, he took down the Motus, King Ghidorah, technically lost to Mechagodzilla, beat Kong, Skyla, Tiamat, Scar King, and technically he was losing to Shima. On deck, we do still have a few options. Space Godzilla would be really cool. They'd need to rename it, but it is a cool idea, but I just can't see them going, oh, it's Godzilla versus Space Godzilla in today's media. But I don't know. What do you think? Comment below. Regardless, we're gonna need more Trapper. I think that he's gonna be the glue here. Trapper for main character 2027. I'm just saying. Sorry, Dr. Andrews. However, him not being very serious could ruin the serious Godzilla movie that I was talking about earlier. Well, now I'm torn. What do you think? Should we get more Trapper and Bernie, or should we go back to the Aaron Taylor Johnson soft-spoken badass? I mean, whenever I say it like that, it kind of sounds like a trick question, but you get it. The next movie is set for 2027, but we get another season of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and probably a few smaller things to hold us over. Again, comment below what you think, and maybe I'll discuss it in a future video. But let's break down Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire real quick. Hey, hold on guys, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt myself, but I would be really upset with myself if I didn't let you know that they put me back in this box until we get 100,000 subscribers, and I was just hoping that maybe you could subscribe right now and like the video, and then that would get me, you know, freedom. And you would be doing a really good deed, so just subscribe down there and I get to give, you know, go outside. It would mean a lot. Thank you. Godzilla is doing his protecting the world thing, no problem, takes out Skyla, has himself a crab dinner.
Rome would be flattened if it weren't for Godzilla.
He's very, very underappreciated, and I get it. See earlier in the video for my opinion on that. To be honest, it's kind of weird that you didn't see it already, but if you need to go back, just go ahead and go back real quick, just a little zoop, and then you can come back to this part, and then, you know, we'll just do it. It's all good. After he beats down Skyla, it's obviously time for a little nap inside the Colosseum. You know.
When in Rome.
Kong is still exploring the Hollow Earth, looking for what was promised to him.
What if she tells me there are others down there?
like him.
They told him that there would be more Kongs, and he spends every day alone as the last of his species that he knows of, looking for signs of his people. While he's exploring, he's attacked by some wart dogs, and in the process of beating them down, he opens up a sinkhole, I guess. It kind of looks like it was already closed, and whatever happened just kind of caused it to fall all the way. Before he even knows about that, he has a serious toothache. So bad that he needs to run up topside before he can go exploring anywhere else. Kong coming to the surface causes a lot of alarms, and everyone is worried that Godzilla will find out and come to fight him.
And I am telling you, Senator, that Kong doesn't leave Hollow Earth, which is why Godzilla has no reason to.
But he needs help, so whenever he gets up, he immediately passes out from the toothache.
The good news is it's just an infected tooth, but luckily you've come to the best doctor in town.
And now, everyone, it happens. We meet a new character named Trapper. He comes in to save the day. He fixes the tooth with a metal one, and Kong should be good to go in a few hours before Godzilla even realizes it. Trapper is Dr. Andrews' ex-boyfriend from college, but it seems like they've both at least gotten over the angry part of the breakup.
Yeah, what was it she said to me? Trapper, you are not a serious person.
Doesn't really seem like Trapper is the kind of guy that gets mad anyways. During all this Jaya, Dr. Andrews' adopted daughter is having visions and blackouts. She's drawing 3 triangles like the pyramids. It's really bothering her and worrying Dr. Andrews.
We're just trying to reach her.
I know. Join the club.
If you don't remember, Jaya is the last remaining member of her tribe from Skull Island called the Iwis.
The Iwi tribe were the guardians of Skull Island, the ancestral home of the great Kong.
This all seems to be getting way too serious, so Dr. Andrews goes to do something that she never thought that she would do. She goes to see Bernie.
Okay, Titan third.
Yes, that Bernie.
Yeah. Kong.
That Bernie. You didn't think he'd come back, but he came back. He says he'll help, but he wants to go to Hollow Earth. She says yes out of desperation, and they head back to the mess.
Yeah, nobody calls it that.
And it turns out that Bernie is very, very helpful, figuring out a few very important things. Whatever is causing the signal to affect the screens and the instruments and Jaya is some kind of distress call, or at the very least, it's being sent on purpose for some reason. Also, an outpost in the Hollow Earth is now gone offline, so they decide they have to go check it out. Bernie is not trained to go to the Hollow Earth, and this isn't a sightseeing mission, but he weasels his way onto the aircraft.
This could be like last time when we saved the world. Remember?
So they hit the portal, and it's pretty nuts, and it's kind of cool seeing Bernie go through it because he's just a regular person.
I'm turning into
They make it through, and it turns out they have cool adaptive camouflage to make it easier for them to move around in the Hollow Earth, especially with a small flying titan called
Verticine.
Some of their problem.
No, they're totally harmless. Unless you get them riled up and then they pack about a lightning bolt worth of bioelectricity.
At the same moment, at sea level, Godzilla heads to a nuclear power plant. He absorbs all of the radiation, which is good for the people that are nearby the plant, but puzzling to Monarch. What is he charging up for? The team in Hollow Earth has no idea about this, but it does find the destroyed outpost, and it was definitely done by a Kong.
That's not Kong.
Just because I said Kong, it doesn't mean that I mean our Kong. Name him something different if you don't want to get confused. Around this time, Kong is also getting back to his home, and he knows something is wrong. So he grabs his axe and heads for that sinkhole. When he goes through, he finds a mini Kong and a gang of Kongs that attack him. He quickly handles them up, even trying to save some of them, but the adult ones just aren't having it. Real quick, look at Kong's arm. I mean, that is a great deep pass. If there is a Titan NFL, I am definitely drafting Kong. First round, first overall pick. Let's give him a good signing bonus too to make sure he's happy. This is great. After the fight, he does manage to grab the mini Kong and tells him to take him back to where there are more Kongs. The little guy's name is Suko, and at first he doesn't trust Kong very much. In fact, he leads him into a fight against a drowned viper.
Not cool.
Not cool!
Again, it seems like it'd be a fair fight, but as we know, Kong is not your average Kong. Up top, Godzilla goes to fight Tiamat, whose lair is in the spot on Earth that gets the most radiation or something. So Godzilla needs to sublet Tiamat's apartment for a while to power up even more. Godzilla rips through Tiamat. It's pretty fast, it's actually kind of annoying. I feel like they could have made this fight a little bit longer. And once he moves in, Godzilla settles in for a good nap. Down below, the team finds ruins and hieroglyphs that tell the story of how an ape named Scar King fought Godzilla.
The monster who ate a star.
Scar King hates us. Like, he really hates us and he wants to enslave humanity. Whenever you hear this, you think the Titans are still animals. Would they be able to enslave each other in this way? But let's get to that in a second. Godzilla 1 and Scar King and his army of Kongs were trapped in the subterranean realm. Basically, they put him in the basement of the world. But they continued to grow and build down there. So one day they'd be ready to fight again. So whenever Kong finally gets there, they've built a society where Scar King and his soldiers are completely in charge. He's now enslaved the lower class of Kongs, so he can definitely figure out this concept. That's whenever the team is ambushed by Iwis, the original tribe that Jaya's people came from. It seems that they've made it their mission to stop Scar King from ever getting to the surface by protecting the portal to the surface from the subterranean realm. And right about then, that's when Kong and Zuko show up in Scar King's kingdom. But let's go back just for a second. On the way in, they cross this giant bridge that's made of a Titan skeleton. This thing is huge. I mean, massive. Goji Center did the math. Thank you, Goji Center. I wasn't gonna do the math. Thing is somewhere around 17,524 feet. That means it's a little bit more than 3.3 miles or 5.3 kilometers long. Just its head is bigger than Godzilla and Monster Zero combined. Godzilla and Kong could sit in it like a cockpit and play space aliens. That's how big it is. It's huge. I mean, I'm gonna have to have a flashback movie or scene about this massive Titan dying because it had to have been in charge at the time. So Legendary, get on it, please. Mini Kong is freaking out because Kong immediately starts to prove his dominance over the biggest ape he can find. Easy money, but wait, that is not even close to the toughest ape in the kingdom. Scar King comes down and immediately makes his presence known and the fight begins. Scar most definitely gets his licks in. He's fast, way faster than Kong. But once Kong gets a hold of him, it's over. But Scar King does not fight fair. He grabs a crystal at the end of his whip and points it at a lava fall. There must have been apes just waiting for him to do that because they quickly drop a boulder, letting out Shimo, a giant ice titan, bigger than Godzilla, comparable to Monster Zero, still not even as big as the skull of the bridge titan. Either way, he hurts Shimo with the crystal and his whip forcing Shimo to attack Kong. Kong tries to hold off the ice blast with his axe, but it quickly spreads to his hands, giving him frostbite. Mini Kong shows him the way out and they both make a run for it. Getting away, but Kong is hurt really bad, so they limp away, hoping to find some help. Kong senses Jaya and the team, so they show up in this Iwi village. As soon as he gets there, Kong collapses in pain and is upset that he lost the fight and he lost his home. Zuko, seeing Kong in this state, makes a run for it. We don't really know where he's going, but it kind of feels like he's abandoning Kong. Also, that dang dirty ape that attacked Kong at the beginning was spying on them and runs back to tell his daddy, Scar King. So the war is about to begin. Godzilla can feel it, and at this point, he's got to be done powering up. The rematch that almost killed him the first time is about to start. Trapper, seeing the frostbite and knowing that he can't treat it from there, has an idea.
We started working on some minor augmentations.
Oh. Wait, what kind of augmentations?
Project Powerhouse, aka the Beast Glove.
That's one hell of an augmentation there, Trapper.
And inside the Beast Glove, there's medicine that fixes the frostbite. Nice. That's when Zuko shows back up and tells Kong that Scar King and his army are heading this way. Zuko must have thought, I'm small, but I know how I can help. He's been a lookout before, and he knows that he can do that. And he wants to help in any way that he can, so he runs off to be the lookout, and he runs back as soon as he sees a problem coming. Jaya tells Kong that he's gonna need help, so he heads to the portal to go get Godzilla. This is a risky plan, but if it works, it's kind of the only way that they're gonna stand a chance against Scar King Shimo and his armies. So Kong hits one of these uncharted portal and comes up right beside the Great Pyramids.
They like to get the landmarks.
Well, here we go again. Godzilla and Kong meet up and fight, destroy some stuff, but eventually team up after Mothra shows up and settles the boys down. I think that Mothra must have a way to communicate like the Iwis that can calm them both telepathically or something, or maybe they just have tons of respect for Mothra and they don't fight in front of Mama. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Jaya is the chosen Iwi to awaken Mothra, so she does that real quick. After that, our boy Trapper has an idea to get help, but Dr. Andrews says that there's no time to get to the surface.
Nah, this idea is way weirder than that.
So now you have Godzilla, Kong, Mothra, Zuko, and the team, which I'm including the village of Iwis, against Scar King, Shimo, and Scar King's army of Kongs. The Iwis also have a plan to mess with gravity to cause confusion and maybe save the village and also help Kong and Godzilla. Okay, Scar King is here, the fight is on, but Kong isn't back yet. That's when Trapper shows up with all the verticines from earlier.
And they pack about a lightning bolt worth of bioelectricity.
It really slows down the army and even seems to scatter some of the soldiers. And that's when our boys show up. They come running out, charging at the enemy, jumping and lunging and about to strike, and that's when we're treated to some really cool zero-gravity Titan fights. I mean, I just take my money every time. Honestly, is what this movie is all about. We could have just done this for 2 hours and I would have been completely happy. It kind of seems like Godzilla, more than the others, can kind of swim through the lack of gravity, but all the other Titans can just push off of objects, so everybody's just jumping around and attacking each other. Even Zuko gets him a little bit. But when the gravity trick is over, the main Titans just so happen to be near a portal that leads to Rio. Scar King has finally made it to the surface. The light from the sun hurts his eyes, but he's ready to take over. But not if GXK has anything to say about it. The fight is huge, destroying everything in the city, but eventually the crystal is knocked loose of the whip. So the fight becomes less of a fight against each other and more of a fight for the crystal. Remember, Shimo does not like Scar King. It's tortured into submission. So if they get the crystal, they can for sure win the fight. The crystal is taken away from Scar King, and Shimo is the one that defeats the Titan that had oppressed it for centuries. Kong and Zuko go back to the Kong Kingdom victorious and ready to usher in a new era for their species. The team keeps on doing what they're doing. This was just another day at Monarch, let's be honest. And Godzilla, after saving the world again, heads back to the Coliseum for a much-deserved nap. Hey, thanks for watching. Click here for more videos and subscribe to keep up with all the Blake's World updates. I'd appreciate it. All right, I'll see you next time.